All right. Welcome to the virtual college exploration for all West Virginia students, sponsored by the West Virginia Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan. My name is Kenna. I'm the Secretary for West Virginia ACRAO, and thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are turned off, so our panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at WVACRAO.org. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, WVACRAO.org. And I will turn it over to our presenter.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Marie. I'm an admissions counselor with Columbus College of Art and Design in Columbus, Ohio. So my role as an admissions counselor is to help you through the college admissions process, all the way from when you apply to CCAD, which we would love to see you apply, all the way until you join us in the fall. So we can also help you build your portfolio, as that is a part of our application process, and also help you navigate the financial aid process as well. So before I move on, just a little bit about my background. I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the University of Dayton back in 2018, and have been at CCAD for about 2.5 years now. So definitely feel free to let me know if you have any questions. All right. So now that you know a little bit more about us, we'd love to learn a bit more about each of you as well. So if you're watching this on a computer or a tablet, simply take out your phone camera and hold it over this QR code. It'll automatically take you to a quick questionnaire where you can tell us a bit more about yourself and your interests, and it'll definitely help us keep in contact with you and send you more information in the future. All right, so a little bit of background information about CCAD. We are a private nonprofit art and design college located in downtown Columbus, Ohio. We're one of the oldest art and design colleges in the nation, founded in 1879. Our student to faculty ratio is a 9-to-1, which means that our classes are small enough that you receive personal attention and a lot of individual feedback from your professors, but still large enough to have constructive feedback and conversations with your peers and classmates as well. So at CCAD, about 2/3 of the curriculum is going to be studio-based. So those are going to be your really major specific classes. And then another third is based in the liberal arts. So you really get a well-rounded education at CCAD. All right, so while there is a lot going on in the city of Columbus itself, there's also a bunch to do on campus as well. So we want you to have your own authentic experience at CCAD. And one of the best ways to do that is through our different student-led clubs, organizations, and student government. So there are a variety of different groups to choose from, and you can be a part of more than one for sure if that's something you're interested in. A lot of students choose to join a student collective, which is a group based around each major. So they often meet for fun events, extra practice sessions, alumni speakers, and casual hangouts as well. That's a really great way to get to know other people within your major and make some connections for the future as well. Another one of my personal favorites is the Battle Games Association. They stage elaborate LARPing or live action role-playing battles on the quad. And it's always really fun to see them out there enjoying themselves and having a good time. So while organizations are a huge part of your time as a student, there are other campus resources that are super important as well. So first of those is our on-campus housing. We do have 2 different options for students. So most of our first year incoming students live in Schottenstein Residence Hall, which you can see in the bottom left-hand picture on the screen currently. So Schottenstein is traditional suite style housing. So what that means is there are 2 bedrooms per suite, 2 students to each room. So you're gonna have 1 direct roommate and then 3 roommates total. There is also a shared living space and then a shared restroom for the 4 of you as well, which I think is super nice because where I went, I had to share a restroom with a floor of like 40 girls. So I always think having your own individual restroom per suite is a really awesome feature. For upperclassmen, we have our Design Square apartments, which are more apartment style living. So typically 4 bedrooms in each unit. Each student gets their own room. There are 2 restrooms to split between all of you. And then you also have a living room and kitchen area as well. So While you're at CCAD, there's some other important areas to know about as well, including our advising office, who help you schedule classes, creative coaches, which is our peer mentorship program, and the Counseling and Wellness Center, where students are able to receive free counseling sessions, as well as the Learning Support Office, which provides accommodations for students with learning disabilities. So if there's anything on campus or any sort of resources that you're looking for that we haven't covered, just ask. We'd be happy to talk to you more about those resources. All right, so we do have 11 different majors at CCAD. I'll let you go ahead and read them. They are up on the screen. And while they're all independent majors, we'll spend the first part of this presentation talking about them in groups based off of the type of work you can create within each major. So in addition, to selecting your major, you can also customize your learning experience at CCAD by pairing your major with one or more of our minor programs and concentrations. So a minor is an additional field of study that's outside of your choice of major. So at CCAD, a minor requires 15 additional credit hours of work, which equals about 5 classes. So any major that we offer can be taken as a minor as well. And then the rest of our minors are listed up on the screen. So minors are optional. You can also choose to customize your experience by taking electives across a wide range of interests. That's totally fine too. All right. So something else I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today is a bit more related to outreach and connecting yourself with potential future employers, because that's one of the really important goals of going to college. So CCAD also offers outstanding collaborative learning partnerships for talented students, expert faculty, and forward-thinking organizations to solve real-world challenges of today and tomorrow. So this year alone, our corporate and community partnerships helped to organize 24 projects in 28 different courses with around 380 students working alongside these organizations like Airstream, Cardinal Health, This One Dress, Madison USA, and others as well. We also have an outstanding career services center that helps students find internships and full-time job opportunities. They also help with writing resumes, teaching interview skills, and helping student artists to develop their own personal creative brand, which is super important. It really helps you stand out with future employers. So they also hold this really great recruiting on campus series that invites employers from different companies like Pixar, Under Armour, and Fisher Price to come onto campus into the classroom and give presentations, host networking events, review portfolios, and even sometimes interview students for positions as well. So lastly, they manage the CCAD job board, which is a huge list of creative careers, internships, and paid competitions, and also on-campus jobs. Something else that I like to mention is that this job board is available to you even after you graduate. So they're there for you as a student as well as an alumni. All right, so it's these types of opportunities that illustrate the benefit of attending an art-specific school over a more traditional university with just an art program. So the statistics that you see here on the screen are numbers based on the SNAP survey. So SNAP stands for Strategic National Arts Alumni Project. So according to that survey of people who answered, 91% of all art and design alumni who responded had an overall positive experience in college, which I think is fantastic and really speaks for itself. 88% of art and design alumni are satisfied with their current work. 80% said their first job out of college was directly related to their arts major. I majored in fine arts, and my first job outside of college and currently was directly related to what I studied in school. And 16% started their own business compared to only 4% of the general population. All right, so let's talk a little bit more in depth about our majors and some incredible alumni stories. So before we get into that, I want you all to think about this question. What do you want to create every day? All right, so let's talk a little bit more about some of our majors. For this first group, for those of you who are interested in bringing original characters to life, shaping a narrative, and inventing entire new worlds, this first group of majors is going to be interesting to you. So this includes our major choices of animation, comics and narrative practice, game art and design, and illustration. So in these programs, you'll have access to top-line technology, tools, and studio spaces. One of the coolest things we have on campus is our stop motion animation lab, which is the only one of its kind in the country. It has 14 individual workstations, each equipped with their own camera and lighting equipment. So it's a really, specific dedicated space for students in this major. And I think it's a really unique opportunity to have that sort of facility. All of the projects featured on this page that you see are student works done in CCAD classes. So we'll be sure to provide the link to the digital copy of our viewbook as well. You can find it on our website, and there you can find more examples of students' work alongside with their social media handles. All right, so, oh, wow, pardon me. All right, so yes, learning opportunities like these are one way that CCAD helps students gain the skills that they need to be whatever they want to be. So we have alumni that have graduated and become award-winning illustrators, prototypers, or even concept artists. Our students capitalize on many different types of opportunities both before and after graduation. So some have developed resources for NASA, while others have made artwork for rock stars or produced Pixar movies like Onward. Here are two more examples of CCAD students that were able to take what they learned about design and put it to the test in the real world. So Shea Beagle on the left is a recent graduate from CCAD who expanded upon a comic originally made for our Spitball anthology. So Shea ended up selling her comic, or excuse me, their comic idea to Image Comics as an 8-part series called Moonstruck, with CCAD Associate Professor and Comics and Narrative Practice Lauren McCubbin as editor. So in Spitball, students get to collaborate with professional writers to create comics and put them into our Spitball anthology, which students are able to market and sell at conventions. Moonstruck is about a barista named Julie who also happens to be a werewolf. On the right is some work done by one of our alumni, Logan Schmidt. So Logan's nature and wildlife aesthetic has attracted commissions from a lot of different musicians, such as Dave Matthews Band, the Avett Brothers, Old Crow Medicine Show, Van Morrison, and Ray LaMontagne. So Logan began by reaching out to different bands who were coming through the Columbus area and offering to make posters for their shows. Now he's a full-time freelance illustrator. So you can buy one of his prints at the CCAD art sale that happens every semester. I believe it's going to be virtual this year, so no matter where you are, be sure to check it out. There's some really great current student and alumni work there. All right, so this next group of majors is for the artist that's interested in developing personalized products, specialized spaces, and unique messages that have a real global impact. So our interior architecture and design, industrial design, fashion design, and advertising and graphic design majors provide students with the opportunity to make products and spaces that they're really passionate about while partnering with real world companies. So this gives students the experience of working in the industry and helps them forge connections for the future. Recently in a special topics course, some of our industrial design and fashion design students went to Chile to collaborate and learn more from the company Citrana, which is a leather goods company that specializes in men's footwear. So students worked with designers from Citrana to develop shoe designs. They then traveled to Chile over spring break and worked in the Citrana workshops alongside the professional shoemakers. So each student was able to use the Citrana shoe forms to make a custom pair of shoes of their own design, and one student's design was even chosen to be mass produced by Citrana. The advertising and graphic design department also regularly partners with real world clients. So whether it's tackling layouts, copywriting, typography, web design, or even UX, UI, you'll get to try your hand at a number of skill sets and build a diverse portfolio, all while gaining critical feedback from industry professionals. All the projects on this page are student works done in CCAD classes, which you can all see listed in the bottom right corner of the screen. All right, so no matter what type of work you make, we know that creatives hustle harder. So your passion can make you a designer of clothing, cars, or costumes. Your passion plus the skills you learn at CCAD will leave you ready to reinvent how and where people live life, what they wear, and how they interact with one another. So from vegan accessories to product packaging, web apps, or children's toys, there is a market for ingenuity. All right, so these are some additional alumni that I'd like to introduce you to. Susanna Madrid on the left was the winner of the CCAD Creative Entrepreneur Award in 2019. After graduating from CCAD, Susanna moved to Milano, Italy to pursue her graduate degree in fashion design. While there, she had the opportunity to design shoes for Neil Barrett, and that was when she fell in love with the design and production process. So Susanna was inspired to launch her own luxury shoe line that really embodies the made in Italy artistry and craftsmanship that she so admires. Her shoes are currently sold at Printemps in Paris and online at susannamadrid.com. Also, if you're ever in the Columbus area, you can find them at the Thread Boutique in Grandview, Ohio. Audrey Stamen on the right graduated last year and was named CCAD's Outstanding AdGraph Senior for 2019. While at CCAD, Audrey was the director of the Advertising and Graphic Design Student Collective and also designed for our student agency for 2 years. The CCAD student agency employs students who create all the designs for our different students, student store and work with real clients. They also design all the admissions materials that we give you, and Audrey has received 6 Addie Awards. So Addie stands for the American Advertising Awards, 3 in the Columbus Society of Communicating Arts Creative Best Awards, and also a featured spot in the Graphic Design USA 2019 Students to Watch list. Post-grad, she's interned at Space Junk Media in Columbus, Ohio, and now works as a designer for Olive, a Columbus-hosted AI technology company that focuses on the healthcare industry. So students that are interested in discovering the conceptual practices of art, exploring a vast numbers of styles and mediums, all while becoming a cultural influencer, are likely to be interested in our last group of majors. So in our photography, film and video, and fine arts programs, we teach you the rules of the game and then provide you with the freedom to break them. So students have the opportunity to challenge cultural conceptions, devote themselves to an artistic practice, and influence society. Columbus has an active art, music, film, and entertainment scene that provides students ample room to explore and experiment in the real world with the skills that they learned at CCAD all before they've even graduated. So one example of this is the Columbus International Film and Animation Festival. It's the oldest film festival in the United States and showcases independent student and professional films from around the world. Presented by Columbus College of Art and Design, the festival showcases world-class independent films right here in Central Ohio. So on campus, we have 4 different gallery spaces, including our world-renowned Beeler Gallery. The Short North Arts District also showcases homegrown and international talents, and the indie art scene thrives at old converted warehouses like 400 West Rich and Millworks Art Studios. So be sure to check out the Vanderelli Room, a gallery founded by a CCAD alum that was named one of the 10 best galleries in Columbus by local news channel WCMH in 2019. Not to mention our next door neighbor, the Columbus Museum of Art, which features several permanent collections as well as rotating exhibits. Something that I think is super nice as well is that as a CCAD student, you'll have free access to the Columbus Museum of Art. Definitely a perk. So CCAD and the Columbus Art Team provide students with the chances to network and develop relationships with individuals within the industry. So we know that when it comes to being successful as an artist, it's not only about what you know, but also who you know as well. So if you're a student who's interested in writing scripts, you should meet an alumni like Angelo Thomas, who graduated from our film and video major in 2020, an independent filmmaker, screenwriter, and novelist. His film, The Incredible Jake Parker, was released in September of 2020 and is based on a novel he wrote with the same title and portrays the cover art that you see here is also by a fellow student, Casey Nodwaku, but they partnered to create this cover art for this wonderful movie created by Angelo. So maybe you're interested in making and selling your own art, in which case you definitely want to meet someone like Megan Maffey, who creates and sells ornamental glass called Happy Thought Bubbles, or maybe jewelry designer Maddie Eder. So meeting the right people can definitely change the entire course of your career development as well. So these final stories are examples of students who were able to capitalize on the people and the resources that Columbus has to offer. Jessica Phelps is a great example of the importance of storytelling in photojournalism. She was named the Newspaper Photographer of the Year by the prestigious Pictures of the Year International Competition for her work based on the Network Advocate in Central Ohio. So her winning portfolio included a long-term project on an Iraqi family that was resettled in Ohio after the father had worked as as a translator in the United States military. So the story followed their journey raising their three children as Americans, but with an appreciation of their Iraqi heritage. Jake Mason Macklin, a fine arts graduate, participated in the prestigious Skowhegan program, an intensive 9-week summer residency for emerging visual artists. During his time at CCAD, Jake was really interested in the expression of his hometown of Columbus and primarily focused on the use of found objects and large installation works. So his thesis consisted of patchworking large found scraps of tarps printed with construction advertisements for luxury developments around the city, which you can see on the right side of the screen. So some next steps. Seniors, if you're interested in attending CCAD, our admissions office would love to connect with you. Right now, we are offering virtual appointments, tours, and portfolio reviews via Zoom. It's also a great time to start finalizing your portfolio, which is required of all CCAD applicants. So another great way to get feedback on your portfolio is by attending a National Portfolio Day. They're all being held virtually this year, and they are a great opportunity to get free 15-minute reviews from a variety of different art schools from all over the country. CCAD will be in attendance at dozens of these this fall, so just make sure to check out our admissions events page for some more information. Once your portfolio is all set, it's time to apply. So you can apply through our online website or through the Common app as well, starting actually in early October. It's open currently, so be sure to check that out soon. We do have two main deadlines to keep in mind. So December 1st is our early application deadline, which guarantees you a decision before the holiday break. February 1st is our priority application deadline, which comes along with some additional competitive scholarship opportunities. So make sure to apply by or before February 1st to be eligible for additional scholarships. So something that I think is super handy as well is at CCAD, you don't have to apply for additional scholarships. As soon as you submit your application, you're automatically considered. We do also recommend that every student file their FAFSA, which is open now, so be sure to do that as well. For freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, you still have some time before you apply for college, but a lot of this applies to you as well. It's never too early to get started and connect with our admissions office through a virtual appointment. It's also a really great time to start developing and organizing your portfolio. We'd also love to see you at a National Portfolio Day and recommend you look into our summer pre-college program as well, called College Preview, and registration is open now and it's on our website, so be sure to check that out too. So let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into one of these next steps. So as I mentioned, one important part of our application process is your portfolio. So big question, what is a portfolio? The word portfolio often intimidates students. People tend to picture a large printed book or a website with all their work displayed with long descriptions for each piece. But at its essence, a portfolio is really just a collection of your artwork. It's a living, breathing document of your progress, and it should always be updated because your skill sets are always changing. So your portfolio can include anything you've created, such as drawings, paintings, films, sculptures, pretty much anything creative. If you've made it, you can include it. But keep in mind that the majority of your portfolio should be visual work, since CCAD is a visual arts college. Also keep in mind every school has different requirements. So if you're applying to a lot of different art schools, you might have to create a few different portfolios to apply to each. So at CCAD specifically, we require 8 to 15 pieces submitted online as part of our online application. We look for 4 main characteristics in a portfolio, those being technical skill, breadth and diversity, a narrative element, and then originality. So all of the work over the next few slides is work from current CCAD students. All right, so why is a portfolio important? A portfolio is like a visual cover letter for an artist. So if we know nothing else about you, what do you want us to learn about you through your portfolio? It should definitely show your passions and interests, original ideas and narratives, and definitely should be memorable. It should also show off your skills as an artist and help us on the admissions side determine if you're ready for art school. It also gives you the opportunity to learn more about yourself and your interests through the process. Some students do choose to have their portfolio reviewed by an admissions counselor before submitting their application. Particularly in a portfolio review, you can ask questions about your work and hear feedback from somebody outside your typical circle that you get feedback from more often, like teachers, parents, friends, or anybody that you talk to about your work regularly. Can also foster new ideas for your artistic practice and increase your skills in discussing your work and also help gain confidence in discussing your work, which is really important, especially going into a college level setting. So, how to get started? To help start that process, you don't just have to focus on classroom assignments. Think about those art pieces that really excite you or that you really enjoyed making. One great way to be able to sort and access your work efficiently is by organizing all of your pieces. So, for digital work, organizing into a folder in a computer or a hard drive can be really helpful so that they're clearly labeled and all in one place. For traditional non-digital work, similar to the digital folder idea, putting physical work into one place so it's easy to find again and can be kept neat and unbent is also a really great idea. Creating your own system to mark which of those pieces are your favorites by seeing your working collections together, it can be a lot easier to pick the top 10 or 20 that are your favorites and then break it down from there. So, portfolios can be pieces from classes or personal projects. We also encourage students to keep a sketchbook as a daily practice. This is a safe space for you to try new things, which can often lead to amazing portfolio ready work. I oftentimes find that students' best work comes from their sketchbooks because those are the pieces that you really, really care about and really want to be working on. If you are an APR, you could even repurpose your APR portfolio. However, your college application portfolio, especially for CCAD, doesn't necessarily need a theme or need to be focused around your intended major. So, a strong portfolio should really include a mix of different mediums and different subject matter and really display the work that you think is your best work. Since your portfolio can always be edited, it's important not to become too attached to some final portfolio idea in your head. You don't have to be committed to a set of artwork forever. You should just throw a few pieces together and start the conversation from there. So just making sure that once you apply, you have your finalized idea, but up until you submit your application, definitely understand that your portfolio can change over time. All right, so for digital work and traditional work, documenting is super important. This really helps determine how the person looking at your portfolio and application views your work. So for digital work, make sure to save your files as high resolution PDFs or JPEG files. So for traditional work, using a good camera, scanner, or high quality phone camera is also super important. If you're using a phone camera, things should be in focus. Your images should be well lit without harsh glares or shadows. Especially if you have a piece that's been framed and is under glass, I recommend taking that piece out from behind the glass just to eliminate that glare. A simple, non-distracting background is also really important. So make sure that if you do photograph your work on anything but a very plain, simple background, you crop down to the size of your piece. Cropping out any edges that aren't a part of your piece is also really important. If you have a piece that is, for example, three-dimensional, is a sculpture, is a fashion piece, you can also take multiple pictures of the piece from different angles and either collage them into a single image or put them in a multi-page PDF. This process is also easier if you've gotten into the habit of saving or photographing all of your work over time, whether personal or school projects, especially if it's something you're going to give away or put in an exhibition. So that commission that you did for a friend, family member, or somebody else, make sure to photograph that and document it before you give it away. So here are some examples of great documentation. They're simple, clean, and high quality images. To the left is a really great example of good documentation of a three-dimensional piece. The necklace is on a plain, non-distracting background. The piece in the middle is a great example of documentation of a digital image. It's a high resolution file and it's very clear. You can see all the really great detail that the students spent a lot of time putting into that piece. The image on the right is a great example of documentation of a traditional piece. In this case, it's a print. So the image is cropped to show nothing but the print and the image is clear and in focus. Here are a few more examples of really well documented work. To the left is a good example of documenting a three-dimensional piece from multiple different angles and collaging that into an image as we just talked about. And then to the left, or excuse me, to the right is some more examples of great documentation of digital work. So here on the other hand are some examples of bad documentation. I took these images myself, so I'm allowed to call them bad. But in the first image on the left, the glare of the glass of the frame is really bad. You can't see a good chunk of the image itself. And you're also really far away from the piece, which makes it difficult to see all of that great detail that you spent so much time putting into that work. In the center, there are too many distractions in the background, from magazines to the playing cards. So this is a great example where you could have cropped that into the size of the image itself. And then on the right, this is pretty poor documentation of a three-dimensional work. So the piece trying to be displayed is the ceramic pot, which you really can't see much of. So documenting that from a different angle with better lighting and a less distracting background would be the best option. All right, so to wrap up, let's talk a little bit about our fully virtual option for our first year students, the online first year program. So first year freshmen may opt to take a completely online curriculum for their first year at CCAD. So whether you're in another time zone, sharing a computer with others in your household, or have health concerns that mean an on-campus experience just isn't right for you right now, you can still start your courses at CCAD and join in our rigorous and engaging curriculum online. So in addition to your major specific courses, our online course offerings will give you a solid foundation for your success as a student in the professional world. So excuse me. This will give you instructions that cover key learning areas such as drawing, visual literacy, and contemporary art and design. Not to mention, you'll also take math classes that will help you with your future as an artist, entrepreneur, writing classes that will help you tell your story and that of all of your creations as well. So we'd really like to continue the conversation with you from today, and we want to make sure that you get all the help that you need. So again, we're here to assist you as you consider your college options and prepare your application, portfolio, and financial aid. So if you haven't already, please scan this QR code really quickly and fill out a little bit more information about yourself, and we'll be in touch with you. All right, so here's our contact information in case you do have any questions about CCAD. We'd be more than happy to answer them. We also have some time now if anybody has any questions. I do know that one question that I get frequently about portfolios is, does it have to be major specific? I know I touched briefly on this before, but your portfolio doesn't have to be major specific. So if you're interested in animation, for example, we understand that a lot of students don't have access to animation materials in high school or before attending college. So whatever sort of creative work you have, whether that's, like script writing, potentially any sort of drawing, painting, sculpture, pretty much any sort of creative work that you have, definitely include it, but your portfolio should just reflect the best of your abilities and what you think really defines you as a creative person. Another question that I get often is, where can I find a scanner? So if you do choose to scan to document your work, where can you do that if you don't have one? A lot of places like FedEx Kinko's or even some public libraries will have scanners that you can use. Personally, I recommend going to like FedEx Kinko's. They have large bed scanners if you have some larger work. So that's definitely a great point of access as well. I do also often get asked what sort of like scholarship opportunities does CCAD offer? So our main form of scholarship is a merit-based scholarship. So basically all that means is that it's based on your application. So our application has three main parts. We have our portfolio that we talked about pretty in depth. We look at your GPA score. So specifically your GPA number, we do require your transcripts. And then we also look at your essay, which is a 300 to 500 word essay. There are a few different prompts. Some of them have creative writing options, so I think that they're kind of fun. So those are the three main aspects of our application. We are test optional. So if you've taken the ACT or SAT and done well, you can definitely submit those scores, but we don't require them. So all three parts of your application are equally weighted. So your portfolio is just as important as your GPA, which is just as important as your essay. So make sure to give them all equal care. And based off of those three parts of your application, you will be awarded a level of merit-based scholarship. I also mentioned earlier that we do offer some additional competitive scholarships if you apply by or before our priority application deadline of February 1st. So I think it's always a good idea to, make yourself available for additional money. Um, we do also offer a scholarship if you are a member of the National Arts Honor Society and have been a member for your senior year. So when you apply, if you're a member of National Art Honor Society for your senior year, make sure to send that to your admissions counselor as well. All right, well, it looks like we don't have any other questions currently. If you think of anything else in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, you can reach us at admissions@ccad.edu. We would love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out to us, like I said, and thank you so much again for attending. Enjoy the rest of your night.